Hi there, NamesCon. This is Alvin Brown, podcaster and publisher of Kickstart Commerce, bringing you another series interview with one of the domain industry professionals here. He is a domain investor of some quite some time, rather, and so I love being able to partner with NamesCon to bring these types of interviews to you. So. Without further ado, none other than Nikul Sanghvi. Nikul, man, welcome. How are you?
Hey, Alvin. Hey, good, thanks. Yeah, how are you doing?
Pretty good, man. Hey, man, it's the last time we met, we were in person, so we've had some changes happen.
It feels like a lifetime ago, right?
It
Oh boy.
does. It
Um,
does feel like a lifetime ago. Oh man, so how's your NamesCon going?
really good. I'm really enjoying it. I've kind of really liked the tables format, the networking format, and dipping in and out of different conversations. But yeah, overall, really impressed with the kind of the whole concept as a whole, and uh, I've seen a lot of new faces, a lot of familiar faces. It's been some great sessions. So yeah, fantastic overall.
Now, interesting for those of you that don't know Nico. So, Nico, how long have you been? How did you get into domain investing, and how long have you been investing?
So I probably started maybe around 10 years ago, just over 10 years ago, but probably more seriously within the last 4 or 5 years. So since around 2015, 16, probably a little bit more seriously. But yeah, for me, it's just been, I guess, like many other people, a bit of an accident and a very steep learning curve. And then I think as things gathered in momentum and things started to go well, just reinvesting, relearning, keep learning, sorry, and yeah, still enjoying it. So uh, hopefully many more years to come.
Now, what types of domains do you invest in?
I focus mainly on .co domains. So .co represents around 90% of my portfolio.
Wow.
Um, and yeah, again, it's just something, I didn't really set out to focus on .co domains, but it's just something that ended up initially working for me. And I think .co.io, they kind of fit this nice gap whereby if you're going for really strong SLDs, so the first part of the domain, where you know that, okay, the domain is taken in a large number of extensions, the .com is not available, and the alternatives are either really expensive or out of reach. They present really nice, credible alternatives for startups and small businesses. So I've kind of focused in that space.
Gotcha. So then, like, what type of sales have you seen? I guess on an annual basis, or even on an average per sale of a .co domain.
So across the year, I'm looking at about maybe 4% of my portfolio selling out of about 2,000 domains. So they tend to be, I'd say the sweet spot is between maybe $1,000 to $4,000 within that range. Probably around 2,500, 3,000 is kind of the upper end or the sweet spot. But occasionally, for certain names, they break out of that range. And again, for many other names, they are sub 1,000 or they might be 700, 800, $900. So they tend to, I would say, they anchor around between maybe 1 and 5% of the .com value, sometimes as high as 10% of the .com value, but um, within probably the lower range of that.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So then, kind of changing gears here. So that's interesting. And thanks for that insight because you hear many times .com is king, and while that is a kernel of truth, there are other CCTLD or country code top level domains, and there are folks like yourself who are making and earning a good living from selling strictly .co domains. Not to say that you don't invest in other things, but like you said, over 90% of your domain portfolio is .co, and you're doing well finding companies and finding really end customers to buy those. So that being said, like for the NamesCon experience though, like you being a seasoned investor, when you said that you've been investing now for like for a decade, and seriously for half a decade, I was sitting there thinking he's like the decade domainer, and I know somebody's probably going to go out and look up that domain right as they hear that to see if it's available. Only domainers do that. Um, but
Got it.
that being said, though, like, what does someone like yourself, with your expertise, what do you look to take away or find at NamesCon when you attend?
Oh, that's a great question. So I think, I mean, one of the primary reasons I attend is to catch up with, my colleagues and peers and friends and people that I've got to know over the years. So I think that's a huge driving force of actually attending and being able to have just quick catch ups and talk about how things are going. And I think the other thing I'm always looking for is new things. So even though I've kind of found a formula that works, I'm always looking for what's next, or how can I diversify, or what other things can I invest in. So I'm always looking out for tips and advice on how to manage my portfolio better, better ways to search and find domains for sale. I'm also looking for trends and patterns to see, okay, well, what other areas are emerging or changing. So for me, I'm pretty much attending and trying to keep my ears open as much as possible, listen to some of the sessions. There's been some great advice, some advice on negotiation, also advice on pricing. So yeah, I'm trying to just soak in as much as possible, but also trying to balance the time between attending the sessions and then just dipping into the networking on the tables. And I think some of the best conversations I've had as well has been speaking to people that have been in domaining for less than a year, or they're just new to domaining, and just trying to understand okay, what that kind of feels like in today to start from fresh. When I understand their position, it also helps me understand, okay, well, if I was starting from fresh today, what would I do with $1,000, or what would I do with a starting point from today? So um, yeah, I've just really enjoyed the last couple of days.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, I mean, I can only give you an air hug, brother, because we got to spend a bit of time at the last NamesCon there in person. But man, it's actually good to see you. You're across the pond
Yeah,
from me. I'm in Austin, and you're what, in London?
yes, that's right.
In London, I could tell by that deep Texas accent of yours.
Yeah, I've been practicing that.
Indeed. Well, as in Texas, as they say, well, y'all, that's our time. And so, Nikul, thank you, man. Thank you for making time. Thank you for sharing.
Thanks, Alvin.
Certainly. And if you would like to share your story, whether you're a first time attendee or you've been in the industry for a while, stop on over, go to the networking lounge, click the exhibitor tab, and look for the Kickstart Commerce table. If you see a picture of this beautiful, handsome gentleman, that means that I am there. Basically tap the other seat or click on the other seat and then join the conversation. Let's connect, let's share stories with one another and get to know one another. So with that, thanks, and that's all for now.